Have you ever wondered how to start a clothing line and make 7 figures a year? Marcus Harvey started a clothing brand called Portland Gear in 2014, and today is making more than $1 million a year, and so can you. On this episode, we are interviewing Marcus, who started Portland Gear while freelance t-shirt printing and running an Instagram page where people showed their Portland pride. A lot of his printing customers started to request Made in Portland on their t-shirts. Then on Thanksgiving 2014, he got the inspiration for Portland Gear, printed 2 t-shirts, posted it on Instagram, and a clothing line was born.
On our first day, we did $5,000 in sales, which is crazy.
What's your gross sales last year? What's your goal for this year? What are some do's and don'ts as far as marketing for a clothing line? This interview is gonna be a blast. We're gonna find out how a freelancer turned an idea into a loved and respected $1 million clothing brand. We're also gonna find out how involvement in the community helped the clothing line expand, and many, many other ideas that you guys don't wanna miss. Tell us and our viewers any tips on expanding your product line.
And Shopify is a huge, incredible app to basically run your entire business. When something's ordered to the retail cost, we're probably at 60 to 65% margin.
All right, you guys, make sure you take a second, subscribe to our channel, hit that like button, and let's go meet Marcus. We're excited to share your story, incredible brand that you've created here. Tell us in a nutshell a little bit about yourself and what led you to starting your own clothing line, Portland Gear.
Yeah, local kid, born and raised, love Nike. The Nike World headquarters is like 10 minutes from here. So I was obsessed with shoes and clothes and sport. I went to the University of Oregon, which is where Phil Knight, the founder of Nike, went. And so there's been this big tie with Oregon and the Ducks and Nike. And so I went there just with a desire one day of working at Nike. Ended up starting to screen print my own clothes as a freshman in the dorms and selling t-shirts. And when I graduated school in 2012, I got fired from my first job at a screen printing company. I was a bit disruptive and young, and when they fired me, I kind of made a decision driving home that night that I didn't want to work for anyone else again. So I came back to Portland and just started hustling, screen printing for other brands. In 2012, Instagram was getting big, so I secured @Portland on Instagram and started that from 0 followers, and that quickly grew 20, 40, 50, 60,000 followers. So you kind of mash all those together in 2014. You've got 60,000 followers on the Portland Instagram page. You have my experience in screen printing, some self-taught Adobe Illustrator, graphic design, and a desire that I wanted to wear my Portland pride. There wasn't really a brand in Portland that was personifying how I wanted it to interpret my hometown. I've always believed in you wear kind of what you're proud in. So I launched Portland Gear in 2014, and here we are 6 years later, and 10 employees and 3 retail stores, and have shipped stuff to every state in 65 countries, and it's been a kind of quick, fun ride.
Can you tell us what the costs were to get started? I mean, break it down to us as much as you can. Maybe where you are today.
So early on, I started the brand with like 55 t-shirts of each style. So that was maybe a couple $1,000 to buy my initial inventory, which on our first day we did $5,000 in sales, which was crazy. So I basically sold everything plus some. So I had to start reordering right away. And I think that's what allowed us to be profitable, was starting the first day, I already was ordering what I needed, what I had already sold. Price of running the business has exponentially changed as it's gotten bigger. You now have 10 employees and payroll and health insurance for them. You have overhead of your rents. You have your cost of goods. You have whatever money you're going to spend towards marketing on Facebook ads or Instagram ads. We don't spend a ton on that. And so for me, I just always knew that what I wanted me and the team to work on was the brand. And so we've grown our team and we've invested our money in the people and the ability that we have as a team, not in the production. But there's some people that have just production businesses that do really well, that they rely on the Portland Gears to send them tens of thousands of dollars in orders to keep their machines going and to print stuff.
So Marcus, you started with 2 t-shirts.
Yep.
And now you've got an incredible amount of line of products. I mean, over 100 of them. Can we just walk and talk through all of them? And tell us and our viewers any tips on expanding your product line from t-shirts to more.
Yeah, I mean, we started with 2 shirts, 2 of our iconic shirts, and they still are our top sellers.
Do you have them here?
Yeah.
Let's go check them out.
This one is kind of got, has the P logo on it, which has got the state of Oregon on the inside. And the back was just simple, Portland, Oregon, 1845, which was the year that the city was named. We thought that was kind of interesting for us being Portland Gear. The second one is this one. So with the state of Oregon around the OR, this one's just become kind of a iconic classic. So these two are how it started in 2014, and now they're still normally our top sellers. We've kind of expanded and done them in different color offerings and stuff. But this is kind of a new one. Again, using the P logo. This integrates a different printing method. So this is kind of called a silicone. It's kind of a different texture on it. So now we've been doing different applications of the P logo. So we've grown slowly to 100 items. Yeah.
Got nice
hats, lots of different types of hats. So yeah, even just inside of the SKU of a hat, this is our leather bat with the wool on it. We have 15 different types of hats now. This was actually a dry cleaner before we moved in. So
look at that. That's awesome.
We left this. I remember when I walked into here 5.5 years ago now and saw this, and I thought that would be a pretty cool thing that people would remember. So yeah, people come in from, I guess, all over the world and have played with this, and it's kind of a fun thing that we want people to remember about the store.
Okay. Marcus, when you got started, I know we talked about the numbers briefly in terms of what it cost you to get started, but let's talk about that just a little bit more. Like for anybody looking to get started, where can they start? Is it $1,000? Is it $2,000? Money-wise, how much do I need?
So a Shopify site is about $30 a month, and you can even start with a free one. And Shopify is a huge, incredible app to basically run your entire business. So that's your first, is you can just get a website domain for $10,
right?
And you can get a Shopify for $30 a month. Next, you need inventory and you need design. So whether you can design it yourself, or if you have to pay someone maybe a couple $100 to do some design work for you, hopefully you can have a friend or someone do it for cheap,
Right.
But you need to design stuff, and then you're going to order stuff for your initial order. Until you kind of know what market demand is, I'd say
that's your story.
36, 72 t-shirts, and maybe they're $9, $10 each.
Okay.
But it also depends on quantity. So if you're only ordering 36, it's going to be quite a bit more expensive than if you're ordering 360 or 500 shirts,
What about your profit margins today? Is that something you can share with us? Where are you at profit margins and revenue for
Sure. So margin is, when something's ordered to the retail cost, we're probably at 60 to 65% margin on an item.
It's pretty darn good.
But then you do sometimes have to discount, or you have returns, or you have some items that, we do like 2 big sales a year. We do like an anniversary sale and a Black Friday sale. Well, on those weekends, you're making like 15% margin. So when you look at a blended margin for the year, maybe it's closer to 50%.
Okay.
And if you do wholesale, then that's going to be way lower, because your wholesale margin, if a t-shirt retails at 28, you have to wholesale it for 14 basically. So if that shirt's costing you $10 to make, you're only making $4. You're not making very good margin there.
So we just left your store, which was on the other side. Now we're standing in front of another location that you operate out of. What's going on in here?
So this is what we call the clubhouse. This is our office warehouse. And I will go back to the question where you said kind of what makes us unique. We've been in here for 5 years and in the store for 5 years. And I think that's been really important to our story, is that our employees, our office, our warehouse is so close to the store. It's allowed this kind of symmetry of employees, of inventory, of events, of all these things, that it's so close. When we have guests come into the store, we get to come over and show them the office. And when we have people into the office, we get to go over to the store. When we get a new product into the warehouse, we can put it in the store in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
And so we have this really close relationship with the consumers and our employees, that everyone's kind of here. So
you've married the two.
We have, yeah. And so this is the clubhouse. We've been in here. Yeah, come on in.
So how many square feet you got here, Marcus?
Yeah, back here is probably 1,500 or so square feet, and then the office kind of area up there. So this is just kind of the warehouse. Kind of a zoo right now. We've got a lot of stuff kind of in limbo phases of current projects and new projects and stuff. So yeah, this is like our little shipping area. We've got our poly mailers where
down here,
the packing slip gets printed off, and we pull the inventory. These are our poly mailers. We made these. These are actually compostable, so we think that's kind of cool.
That's pretty cool.
Biodegradable and compostable. We try to be, sustainably conscious here. We ship in the mornings and get all the orders out from the day before. We've got our inventory, so when new stuff comes in for our printer, it kind of stays in the loading zone here until we get it onto Shopify, get everything uploaded, and then it kind of moves over into inventory. So
is all your inventory here, basically? This is where you store all of it?
Yeah, here, and then whatever fits in the stores. But this is kind of the hub. So stuff comes here first, and then we distribute it to each store. We divide up, like, oh, this store needs 50 t-shirts and this store needs 100 and this store needs 10, and then so we kind of divide it from here and then take it out. But yeah, so this is kind of the nucleus of it all.
You guys make sure you check out our blog on upflip.com/blog, where we post all kinds of in-depth information about all kinds of businesses that can help you grow and scale your business. And also, if you're looking to buy or sell a business, you can do that on upflip.com. Make sure you check it out. Tell us about tips and tricks on how to best leverage Instagram to grow your business line, especially clothing lines, clothing brands.
Yeah, I mean, Instagram is basically a social media platform where you just get to talk to consumers, you know, and so for us, it's been posting strong images of product, of the city, responding to all the comments, putting up engaging content, engaging stories, talking to the consumers, not talking at them, basically. So we post, you know, once a day on the Portland Gear Instagram page, maybe a little bit less. We put stories up every day, but we just try to keep engaging content and new releases of products. We tease new product that's coming up. We show launches. We talk about product that's currently in stock. We show behind the scenes stuff. And so Instagram, all the social media pages, you know, are just an opportunity for you to get to talk to and relate to consumers. And, you know, we've been doing that since 2012 when I started the Portland Instagram page. So
what are you spending on Instagram now?
You know, we don't spend a ton. We probably spend $500 a week across Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and Google ads. We actually have a lot of success with Google ads, simply like just keyword ads. Okay. So when someone's on Google and they search like Portland t-shirt, Portland hat, where to buy a hat in Portland, we just try to go after those keywords, and we've actually found a lot of really successful conversion with those. And then as far as like Facebook, Instagram ads, we put a couple $100 towards promoting posts or sharing new content on there. But with our engaged following and the Portland Instagram page, we actually are just kind of able to, we've always been able from the beginning to just speak to our consumers through our followings without actually having to pay for it. So it's another blessing that we have too.
What's your gross sales last year? What's your goal for this year?
Yeah, we're about a 7-digit business, low sevens. You know, we're very blessed to do that. You know,
Absolutely.
Portland is a big town. You know, it's not a huge city. And so we do have a ceiling on how big we'll be. We've got 3 retail stores, and we'll add an airport store one day. And I think, you know, that'll kind of be the limit that we find one day. And I think I'm okay with that. I'd rather have, you know, 10, 12 awesome employees and a small manageable team and do good sales and, you know, everyone stays good. We don't have ambitions of being a $10 million business. We don't have plans of a big exit one day. You know, this is a business that I hopefully will pass down to kids, and you know, I want the P logo to be as relevant in 50 years as it is now. So I'm on a very different path than a lot of brands who are just trying to make money and scale.
Yeah.
I'm here to like create a legacy brand and something that tells the story of Portland as Portland continues to grow. So we're just a different business, but that's how I've positioned the brand to be. And so we're more of a brand and a logo and a community than we are a t-shirt company.
Absolutely. No, it's pretty incredible. Marcus, what are some do's and don'ts as far as marketing for a clothing line business?
Photography is really important. So good, clean images, on-body model, you know, generally taken in a place that resonates with your consumer. So for us, that's cool Portland places. If it's a dirt bike brand, it's with dirt bikes. It's with, you know, whatever that might be. Zach takes a lot of our photos and we put them into our Google Drive folder. Well, we use those photos for emails, for Instagrams, for all sorts of things, and then we have them. So I have 7 years worth of photography in these files that are incredible to have. So images are really, really important for us, and that's kind of what makes the middle of the marketing work, is that the images are clean, the models are good, the product looks good. Do the pop-ups as often as you can. It creates a moment to relate to consumers and get to talk to them and be present with them and hear their feedback and tell your story. Have a really clean, simple website to use. Good copy, you know, messaging that's engaging, that's thought-provoking, that makes people kind of pull into your story. And something I've always said to us is I think you need to be a good story. You know, people want to follow good stories, and so be a good story as a brand. You know, invite people to be part of it with you. You know, our customers feel like they're part of the brand, and that's what we really want. And I think that's all part of marketing.
So, Marcus, can you show us how this is done here? The heat
press we actually have a
everything?
heat press. We can go over and look at one real quick if you guys would like. Yeah.
Pretty simple process.
Yeah, the heat press is. Screen printing is not as simple. that takes a little more time to develop, burn the screens and do the inks and everything. But so this is just a heat press. So this is a heat press machine here. This is one of our chenilles. They come with like these transfer papers here. So again, this comes from a supplier. So what you do is you pull this off here basically and apply it to the t-shirt. I've got one set up here. So you take the transfer off of here, put it onto the shirt, put a piece of parchment on it,
And just
then you put that down for anywhere from 10, 20 seconds or so. And this is heat on the top, and it's going through, kind of pushing. There's a glue on the bottom of that down onto the shirt. And then you pull it off.
And there you have it, guys.
And there you got one.
Let's take a look at pricing. Just curious so that our viewers can see. So this hat right here, just trying to see where the price is.
So
is there usually a tag on it?
Snapback, yeah.
Okay.
Yep, 30,
So 30 bucks.
30 for hats. Beanies anywhere from 25 to 30. Hats anywhere from 28 to 32, depending on how complex it is. T-shirts range from 28 to 35, depending on if it's made in America, depending on the wash of it, different applications on things. So this one's 32. This is a new collection that's coming out. A bit more oversized. It's a heavyweight cotton. Sweatshirts are anywhere from 58 to 70 or so, and that's just come from years of research on knowing what people will pay for things. I know there's a million places you can buy a $10 t-shirt, and so you're fighting the $10 t-shirt grab bins, but we don't want to be that.
Right.
So 28 is kind of this price point threshold that we found of like, we want consumers to have to think about the purchase, because when you think about something and you spend a little bit more on it, then you wear it more.
This hat is pretty cool. What's the story on that? City of Roses, 1889.
Yeah, that's a really thick beanie. Those are actually
Feels pretty good.
woven here in Portland by a company called Columbia Knit. So we
Check
try
this
to
out.
do little collaborations with brands and companies that are in the area. So they've been around for a long, long time. So we order those, add a leather patch on it with City of Roses, nickname of Portland. And that just comes out as like a little collection, and we tell a little story about the collaboration. So we do lots of that type of stuff.
Okay. What should I be focused on starting in the business as far as community events? Where do I go to find these people? Any
Wherever
tips?
your consumers are. So for us, our consumer was a Portlander. So we went to events the Portlanders were at. So that was first Thursday and last Thursday and Saturday Market and all these places. So whatever your brand in the t-shirt world is going to be, again, knowing with what the community resonates with, then you got to go find where those people are. So again, I keep coming back for some reason, this dirt bike brand. If you start a dirt bike brand, we should probably go to events that there's dirt bikers at. You should probably go to a dirt track on a weekend and set up a pop-up shop there. So you going to a Portland Street Festival wouldn't do the same as you going to a dirt bike convention.
Right.
So you got to find where your consumer is and go meet them there. So some of those events are free. Some of them are a couple $100s for a booth. Some of them are $500 for a booth. And just pick up the phone and call someone. Call a coffee shop and say, hey, would you mind if I come and do a little pop-up shop this weekend? And they'll probably say yes. Just go for free and do it, and do that every day for as long as you can. That's what we did. We have our Volkswagen, this old Volkswagen bus we use as our mobile pop-up shop when we first started. It was this old 1970s Volkswagen.
You still have it? I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, we still have it. It's now at one of our stores as kind of part of the store, which is fun.
Okay.
But we would drive that thing around to all the events around Portland, and that's where we would show up. So my question would be, what's your pop-up? What's your van? Not saying you physically have to go get a van, but just the idea of like, what does your pop-up look like? Where do you show up? Where are your consumers at? And I think it's important to focus on that until you grow to the point of having a retail store or of doing wholesale, whatever you choose to do.
When you gather your customers and you hear their feedback, we like this, we don't like that. Do you do anything like that, or are you just test and explore?
That's called social media now. You can do that on Instagram stories. You can do that with polls. You can do that with comments. We'll put up a graphic of a t-shirt, and let people decide if they like it or not. We've done that with all sorts of things. Yeah, with kind of a basketball-inspired collection, we'll put this up on Instagram and say, do you like it? Do you not like it? And we'll put other styles up, and do you like this blank? Do you not like this blank? And we've noticed when people get to vote and be part of the process, then they show up with their dollars more because they felt like they were, part of the process, that they were heard as a customer. And so we try to create those moments as much as we can as a brand for people to feel part of it with us. And it's not just us making stuff and shoving it at them. It's that they get to be part of the brand story with us.
Well, this has been incredible. Last but not least, I wanted to ask you if there's any last tips and advice that you can share with our viewers who are sitting, listening to you. They're excited about the prospect. They've been as passionate about apparel as you have since you were a young kid. What can you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I love young entrepreneurs, old entrepreneurs, anyone trying to start something. I think the first step is that you've got to solve a personal problem to you. It's got to resonate with you. So for me, the problem was I couldn't find anything to wear that was my Portland pride. And I wanted it to look a certain way, and so I couldn't find it, so I went out there and created it. And by creating it, you find that there's other people that have that same problem, and those become your customers. So whatever it is that you're going to start, make sure it fixes a problem that's personal to you. And I think the reason it's important that it fixes a problem and it's not just trendy, because trends come and go, or things that are popular change. But when it fixes a problem or makes life easier or better or cheaper or more enjoyable or more fascinating, then you find other people that align with that, and then it becomes a lot easier to sell them something. It's easier for me to sell someone like, man, you love Portland like me? Well, here's a hat that you can wear it. And they're like, I get it. I didn't have to sell them on it because I'm fixing a problem that they have. And so there are millions of problems. There's millions of problems created every day. So there's so much infinite opportunity out there to create a business and to do something. But it has to be personal. It has to resonate with you, because times will get hard. It will get tough, and you have to resonate with what you're creating in order to push through and do it. But yeah, I think entrepreneurship is huge. It's freeing. It's fun to creatively express yourself in whichever way you want. It's fun to be your own boss. It's hard. It's trying, but the opportunity in it is huge. And I think it just starts with starting somewhere, fixing that personal problem, and then allowing it to grow as it needs. Like, you don't have to start with $1 million. You don't have to start with $10,000. You don't have to start with $1,000. You can start with $500, $200, however much money you have. You can try to start a business, and it can just exponentially build. I mean, this all came from nothing. You know, this came from an idea on a computer, on my college computer, and now it's 10 employees and 10, stores and 7 figures in sales and collaborations and $100,000 in inventory and all this crazy stuff that would have never started if I didn't just resonate with that first problem that I had in 2014.
That's pretty cool. Well, Marcus, you've got an incredible story.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Well, that's a wrap, you guys. I hope you enjoyed Marcus's story and how he built Portland gear right here next to us. What an incredible story. Things that stood out, and I hope to you, is it's all about the community. It's all about taking care of your customer and enjoying and loving what you do and having an incredible story as well. So subscribe to our channel if you haven't done that already. Like this video. That way you don't miss any of our revenue generating videos from UpFlip. Thank you for watching.